you hear the music, it lets you know that we're on our way here. We're getting started. It's a beautiful Wednesday. One day after my wife and I celebrated 53 years of marriage, so we're now in year 54, baby doll. Love that girl. All right, let me get back to the job so I can get busy. This is Wow Word on Wednesday with B&B, Bishop Carl E. Brinkley Jr. and his sidekick, John GODBOLT. We just enjoy coming your way and sharing with you every Wednesday morning early to get some things rolling and getting your day started. We call it hump day in the sense of work week. It's the middle of the week and you are now on your way to the weekend. But keep this in mind before we get started. It's going to be a hot time. So the weather is not going to be playing with us. So we'll be talking more about that throughout the week, all right? But as we get started today, I always love to get a word in with you before we start talking about our topic today. And I've got two young ladies. I call them young because they're young in heart and mind. They got a few years on them. They've been around the sun a few times, but they know what they're talking about. And we're going to introduce them in just a few moments. But the word today is from Matthew chapter 16, verse 25. Lose it to save it. Here's what Matthew 16 and 25 says. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall save it. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for everybody to get on a social media platform and talk about their feelings, and they start talking about what they want to talk about without the principles of respect and honesty? They got a do me mentality. And these social media platforms are growing unbelievably fast. But there's a voice that still cries out in the soul of every man. Deny yourself, think it through. Because if we start to think about before we hit that send button, once you hit that send button, once it comes out of your mouth, you can't draw it back. So God gives us a formula to lose in order to win. Our flesh is filled with poison, vengeance, selfishness, and gain. So we got to break our connection with it. You can't be so acquainted with your flesh and your desires that you can't separate yourself from them. So now this is not a magic formula, and so don't jump out here and think that, okay, somebody's going to lay some oil on me, and I'll have Bishop Brinkley to pray for me, and all of a sudden, I'm going to be a super person in God. This is a journey. And you start this journey by, first of all, recognizing that, God, I need to be free from my total self. So I got to give my total self to you and stop making donations to God. You know, you come in on Sunday and make a donation. No, give yourself totally to Christ. And that starts with prayer, a prayer life that creates a new appetite. Ask God, give me a new appetite for your word, an appetite for your will. Make me hungry for your way and not my way. Cause me to want a desire for your works and not myself. Next, find you a quiet place, a time where you can read the word so God can speak to you. Now, we know God speaks in several ways, but most of the time, 99% of the time, you can find him in his word. And then you start walking it out, okay? This is how you win God's way and not your way. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity you've given us to share with your people. I pray that we learn how to lose ourselves to win, to save ourselves, to do and be what you called us to be. Let lives be changed, hearts and souls be delivered by the power of the living God, that your name will be glorified, Jesus magnified, and Satan completely terrified. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, we're ready to roll on this Wednesday morning. I've got two sisters in the house today for Brothers United for Hope. They've been here before. Let me say welcome to Loretta Williams and Beverly Oaks. They are our partners again this Wednesday. And look like we may have something going on for a while here. We're going to figure this thing out, try to make them come back with us and share more and more with us about this message of Brothers for Hope. And there's another one too, Sister Soul Fest. Sister Soul Fest. That's the one I wanted to talk about as well. Now, if you're don't remember these two ladies, they help us with our men and women, we'll say women too, yeah, incarcerated, those in the correctional centers around, well, we know North Carolina, but we're going to talk about all of this. They've got a program that my wife and I signed up for called Reentry. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about their lives and how they got through these situations. Don't you dare go anywhere. Stick and stay, because this is going to be the hour that you're going to be able to help yourselves, help others, as well as prepare yourself for some good things that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now, I asked them to do this because, keep in mind, I'm sensitive to the needs of and what they've gone through, these ladies. One, personally, we walked through this thing together some years ago. And I don't want to get to the point where we can't talk about things that are necessary, but at the same time, sensitive to the need of what you all have faced yourselves, what brought you to the point of not just giving in and say, okay, sitting down and doing nothing, but taking this hurt, this painful situation, and using it to make other lives better. So first, and let me and Bishop say to you, thank you for being open and willing to do this. There's a lot of folk who still are not able to do it. It takes a lot of courage. And so our hats off to you, and you are a she-rose today, okay? So thank you for that. And that the first thing we're going to talk about, and I'll start with you, Loretta. How did you deal with the news of your husband and this situation of being incarcerated?
Well, as far as with my husband, the news, my journey with incarceration didn't start with him. It started really with my cousins. I have a cousin and two of her children that were incarcerated. So that journey I started from beginning to now where we are. So with her, when I got the news, I was shocked. One, because I didn't realize that there was so much that was going on in her life that caused this to happen. And we know with numbers, statistics say that 67% of those that are incarcerated come from a place of trauma. I believe that number is much higher.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
And I also know through our experiences that even if you didn't go in with some sense of a form of trauma being in, you got some. And so you're going to come out with some trauma. So when I got the news, and I said, okay, I'm going to see how I can support, because this was the very first time in my life that someone was going to be incarcerated, not just one, but now there was 3 of my family members. Wow. So I went to the first trial, and that was my last of the hearing, because it was just so overwhelming. And to see her over there in the whole uniform of being, their uniform of being in jail, hearing the prosecutor was really what took me out. It took my heart and just snatched it from my chest, because this prosecutor just seemed to have a personal vendetta against her. There was a point even the judge was like, counsel, you do realize that she is a human. So it was my first taste of people being incarcerated, loved ones, and it was reality for me, because so many times, it's hard to relate to something that you aren't personally connected to, or it's not directly impact you. So we seem to forget about those that are incarcerated if you don't have someone that is. So yeah, it became real to me.
Yeah. Well, and Beverly, anytime you want to chime in, I'd love to hear from you, because we went back, 20 years ago maybe?
It's 17.
In 2017.
No, it's been
17 years. Okay. I couldn't remember what the date was yet, but we went back there. So how did you?
Well, for me, a little different, because it was something that I never expected.
Sure.
You could not have told me that this was going to be a part of my life. And when I got the news, I was in denial, and disbelief. And for me, I went inward, even though I still had to function outwardly, I went inward. And I was locked up. And actually, in all honesty, I haven't been freed that long, because having to process this whole new life, And for me, I have to actually say that because I had a relationship, and still have a relationship with God, He was my refuge. I mean, people want to tell you what they know. They want to give you, what happened in their life, but it's different. It's different when it's you, And in your mind, or in my mind, I saw people looking at me different, like it was me or something I had done wrong. And you even begin to question yourself, knowing that you had set I don't want to say style, because that's not, just the way my life was going. Yeah. How did this enter in?
Yeah. Your standard, yeah.
Yeah, how did it enter in, I had to learn to breathe again, and I'm taking baby steps right now, just learning to be able to talk about it, and not be so defensive. Because I became defensive, and if you approached me, you could have been, maybe you wanted to ask me, about the weather, and I was I was locked and loaded. Okay. And I knew that that was not the way God wanted me to be, so I spent a lot of time just me and him, and like I said, because I had a prayer life already established, he just, when you read the scripture about him taking you under his wings, he does just that. So today, I can voice it a little bit. My voice is not that loud about it, but I feel a healing coming.
Well, since you own that, let's unpack that a little bit more, Loretta and Beverly. When we start talking about managing it and overcoming, I don't know if overcoming is a key word right now, but managing it enough that you continue to function in life, but knowing that there's a void there. How did you do that?
Well, as Miss Beverly said, really it's, and you mentioned, it's not an overcoming. It's something that we are managing. And for me too, keeping God as my constant companion is really, that's the management. And we have a lot of prayer time together. We have family prayer. I mean, prayer is just, and Ms. B mentioned it too, that she was already a prayer warrior before these things started. And that's something that I do know for a fact, that God prepares us. We don't know what's coming, but we know that he knows that what is coming towards us, we have to be prepared for. So a lot of things that we find now that we shared, and we were in totally two different states.
Right.
So God had me as a prayer warrior as well before any of this even started in my life. Excuse me. So, just knowing that, having God there, and that's really it, the word, prayer, and having that quiet time, and then being able to talk about it too,
Right.
So that it's not a badge of shame. Sometimes you the enemy wants to play with your mind and make you think, oh, you did something wrong, or you don't want to tell anybody that you got somebody that's incarcerated. And it's like, no, we need to talk about this, because we're not the only ones. There's a whole lot of us that are going through this. So yeah,
we talked about this on one of our shows. About 80% of the inmates in prison are African American or people of color. So we see the system, and I'm not going to knock it. We'll deal with that later. I think there's some things we need to talk about.
Yes, we do.
In our conversation, so we can prevent some of this for our young men and women. But there's a financial piece that I started thinking about, the financial burden, the managing life differently. that people don't think about when you start, somebody else controls your life, this happens. Share with us, if you can remember, I know you can, but looking back over that financial piece and the struggle financially in doing this. Yeah.
Well, having to add something else to the budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, making that dollar stretch, okay? It was already hollering, so now it's screeching, okay?
Wow.
Because you want to make sure that, that your loved one has what they need, you know? And it's not that you want to load them up where they can just, you know, buy whatever in there, but have their needs. You know the standard that they had, you know? Something as simple as keeping themselves clean, okay? You have to buy your bar of soap now, you know, whereas at home, you just went in the closet and got it, okay? And you paid for that one. Now you got to pay for the one in your closet and the one in their closet, you know? And you find so many people will say to me, well, you know, what can I do? You know, I can give you some money to put on his books and, you know, and that was nice. But a lot of times it was just words.
Wow.
Okay, and I had to really take a grip there because I'm angry now. You told me you was gonna help me, and here you are, you know, showing me pictures, you know, that you done went to the beach and did this, that, and the other, and I'm feeling like, you know, what's up with that? But anyway, you know, again, God helped me to understand that he was gonna supply my needs because that's what he said in his word. So as I shared with him the things that I needed, different people would come, you know, that I did not expect that would help. And it just helped me past that, you know. I mean, not past it because I'm still dealing with it, but just ease the burden a little bit.
That's good. Lorraine?
Yeah, again, so much, we share so much. And that's the thing too, with anything really in life, but really with incarcerated loved ones and individuals, it's the spirit of oneness. You know, it's really what affects you, affects me, affects her. I mean, it is a domino effect. But financially, yes, it is a extra thing on the budget. It's hard.
Yeah.
Even phone calls, you know, you get 15-minute phone calls, and it just depends. If you are out of state, if your loved one, and that's the thing too, they will move. There's times they move your loved ones out of state where you can't even really go to visit and get to them. So the phone calls are extremely expensive. I mean, everything, even having to travel to go visit, that's gas that you have to take to go up there. Then you have lunch if you want to eat. I mean, it's just, it stamps if they want to mail a letter out. And postage is crazy out here, but it's taxed even more on the inside. A tube of toothpaste is sometimes like $3 for them. And it's the small toothpaste. It's
You're
not the
small.
big,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
it's not the big one. So it's a real big financial burden. They have to pay for their shoes. I mean, everything.
And not only do we pay for, you know, send money in, but we have to pay to send money in.
Right,
Yeah.
there's a fee.
Okay, there's a fee that you have to pay, so you have to factor that in as well.
Right.
So, with that being said, what advice would you give, best advice you would give someone who's struggling with that right now? They are trying to figure out how to move forward, make life work, and they just got the news, or maybe they found their loved one, they're going to prison, and they're going to spend some time there.
Well, I would say for that individual to reach out. I say that because I didn't, okay? Like I said earlier, I went in. But when you reach out, you know, when you cry out to God first, he will put somebody in your path. I promise you. Because, you know, I had no idea that I was going to meet Loretta. Matter of fact, when I went to an event that she had here in Fayetteville, I walked straight up to her and asked her if she knew who Loretta was. And she just looked at me, you know, and from that point on, God has just really, really, you know, blessed the relationship. But I would say to reach out because there are resources, but you have to make sure that these resources are sure.
Okay.
Because everybody wants to say, hey, I got something over here, I got something over here. And when you get there, it's not really what you need. okay? Because you're going to need to have somebody to talk to. You know, I know we're talking to God, but sometimes we need to, you know, that human touch. And you have to make sure that you don't bottle up.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm telling you what I know. Don't bottle up, because when you do that, there are people that are there to help you. They can't reach you, you know. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. You cry a lot. You think a lot, you know. But just allowing God to direct your path, because that's what He says. He says, in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. And when you go under that, He says, be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord. So you have to just let God do what He's going to do, because He has the ultimate say.
Yes,
He's
He does.
sovereign, you know. And even though we are going through this, and it's a hard thing, it had to happen.
Yeah.
It had to happen, you know, because if it didn't happen, where would our loved ones be?
Yeah.
We would probably be going to the graveyard,
Yeah.
you know, to visit. But it had to happen, because God is going to get the final say.
Yes,
I
He is.
promise you. So you can run, but you can't hide.
That's right. That's so true.
So, Loretta, you got any advice you will share with someone as well?
Yes, I would say too, to add to that, is educate yourselves. Educate yourselves about incarceration. There's so many organizations that are out here that are the real deal that will help. I'm gonna put this plug in. Wife After Prison, Miss Sheila Bruno. She has an amazing organization, and she comes from a wife's perspective in the beginning, but it's for everyone. It's for families. It's for children. Her whole organization is designed to help, and especially even the residents. So the person that is incarcerated or going to be incarcerated, there's just a boatload of information and things you don't think about, and that you wouldn't really think about.
That's good.
So yeah, definitely educate yourself with that, and also know that for North Carolina, there are policies. There's a policy and procedure for the North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections that is online, and it's accessible to us as the public and also the resident. So when you find out that those policies are in place, and there's a lot there
Okay.
to help us, but there's no one to really have that check and balance to make sure it's being done. So that's where we can come in as also in the policy, the Community Resource Council Committee. So yeah, there's a lot. So education is the number one thing, and you got to read it in order to be educated. So
I like what both of you are saying. To me, it sounds like you're saying be proactive. Don't become a victim as well as dealing with loved ones who are victims.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to take a break, but I wanted to say this as well. As you were both talking, it's just dawned on me how many biblical characters that were in prison.
Okay.
From
Yes.
Joseph
Yes.
all the way down to Peter, Paul, you know, people we talk about, and we don't see it as God moving, but at the same time, we got to consider it. There's some more things about this thing that's not necessarily what we think it is. And plus, there's some other folk that should have gone to jail that didn't go to jail.
right, that part.
That part. Look, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something that's really interesting as well. That is re-entry and what it feels like when you come out of prison, what life is like on the other side of the bars. We'll be back. This is B&B on Wild Word on Wednesday.
North Carolina lawmakers on Tuesday unveiled a long-awaited $34.4 billion state budget agreement on the last day of the fiscal year, setting the stage for votes this week. Governor Stein unveiled on Tuesday a health commission made up of state government and industry experts studying ways to bring down health care costs. Iranian state television is reporting that a ship has run aground in the Strait of Hormuz after not running Iran's approved route through the water. The report, published on Wednesday, identified the affected vessel as a foreign container ship but offered no other immediate details. High Point police continue to investigate after a Thomasville man brought a flamethrower and other weapons to a High Point church parking lot. Groundbreaking ceremony was held in Hendersonville on Tuesday, the future site of a multi-affordable home site in Hendersonville. Mike Traley, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. On June 28th at about 9 p.m., Fayetteville police went out to a stabbing along the 200 block of Lansdowne Road that resulted in a death. The victim has been identified as 46-year-old Anya Owens Ray of Fayetteville. Police responded to reports of a stabbing that was domestic related. Officers located the victim, who was suffering from a stab wound to her chest area, while being treated on scene for her injuries, and before being taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. She told officers that her husband, Leon Ray, was the person that stabbed her in the chest. The victim died from her injuries. Ray has now been charged with first-degree murder. Help shape the future of Fayetteville by serving on a city board or commission. It is a meaningful way to support your community and take part in important local decisions. If you are interested, you can apply at fayetteville.nc.gov/boards. The deadline is July 31st. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Our heat wave is about to escalate. That ridge of high pressure, or what we call the heat dome, is building into the area. Hotter than yesterday, even hotter for the day tomorrow, and staying that way into the holiday weekend. So we're aiming for mid to upper 90s later today. It's mostly sunny. Clear tonight, upper 60s to low 70s. Thursday is sunny, hotter, humid, upper 90s to 100 degrees, and perhaps reaching the low 90s for Friday, also Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Mike Mays in the NCN Weather Center.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hope, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
Third anniversary celebration for Pastor Wendy Peterson and Unity, July 18th, 2026. Faith Covenant Worship Center, 742 East Russell Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Advance 20, at the door 25. Doors open 3 p.m. Celebration service time 4 p.m. On the 33rd anniversary celebration for Pastor Wendy Peterson and Unity will be the Echo Airs. Solomon Ledbetter Jr. and Blessed Voices, Real Connection, Shirley McNeil and Singers of Faith, the New Gospel Trumpeteers, the Spiritual Eds. For more information and for tickets, 910-850-7351, 910-797-3423, or 910-309-0871. Don't miss it. Make plans now to be there. The 33rd anniversary celebration for Pastor Wendy Peterson and Unity, July 18th, 2026, Faith Covenant Worship Center, Fayetteville.
Remember the rotary phone? Well, soon that's what people are going to ask about gas-powered cars. And every day we see videos of robots becoming more and more like us. Welcome to the future. At Fayetteville State University, we believe that anything really can happen. So wherever it is that you want to go, we've got a program for that. Visit Fayetteville State University and find out how we're preparing students just like you for what comes next. Fayetteville State University. Are you in?
Whether you're new to gardening or have years of experience, the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension is here to help. Learn new skills through programs like Better Living, connect with the community through the Master Gardeners Volunteer Program, or explore opportunities for young people through 4-H youth development. The Cumberland County Cooperative Extension offers programs for all ages. To learn more, visit North Carolina State Extension online at ncsu.edu or call 910-321-6882.
time. We're back, and if you haven't been with us throughout this entire morning, welcome to WOW with B&B Word on Wednesday with Bishop Carly Brinkley Jr. and John GODBOLT, as we are talking today with Loretta Williams and Beverly Oaks about Brothers United for Hope. That organization, I was looking at something online, a community outreach rehabilitation initiative that supports people currently in and formerly incarcerated men. I saw that word there too. It was founded by your husband, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just noticed that. I thought you were the founder, but
No.
he founded it.
Yes.
Operating in conjunction with the Sisters Soul Fest, an organization that we are going to find out about today, this part of our show as well. There's a lot of stands about this, and the 4 stages are civility, law and order, security, and discipline practices. Okay, so with that being said, welcome back to Loretta Williams and Beverly Oaks. To the rest of the show, the time we have here, we're going to be talking about your program, Reentry, as we are preparing for something that's happening July the 21st,
Yes.
Tuesday morning. I'm excited about spending that 3 hours with you so we can get an idea for the new chapter, the new future of men who are coming out. So
Yes.
if you got somebody, listen, tell you all right now, if you got someone in your life who's coming out anytime between now and next year, you probably need to be here with us on the 21st. You need to register. And we got a few more seats. Want to get involved in this, and this is why. Life is totally different. It's not like you think it would be. If you've been watching television, let's knock that out right now. It's not going to be like you saw on television. Okay, so
right.
let's talk about it. The reentry. There's hope. Let's talk about what it looks. Why did you ladies do this? I mean, what brought this on?
Okay, so yes, we are having the reentry simulator on July 21st. That's Tuesday. As you mentioned, we do have a few more seats left, so sign up. It's free. Just register. We ask that so that we have a proper count and we have room for everyone. So what got us really started with this reentry simulator is the fact that we went to a reentry simulator. I went to one, Ms. B went to 2, and going through that, we were just like so informed about the physical part of coming home after being incarcerated. It was overwhelming. It was heartbreaking. It was just like, wow. It was really a wow moment. Like, this is what it's like. And that's just a fraction. So we said, we've got to make this, we've got to bring awareness to this. We've got to sound the alarm. Let the more community people know that, whatever mindset you thought about people when they're released, and sometimes they go back, because we found that it's not easy. Once coming out, especially if you've been incarcerated for a long time, the whole world has changed. So that's something that they have to adjust to, along with even having to deal with people's attitudes. When you go to, say, social services or a resource or a place that you have to get paperwork from or anything like that, that person, if they're having a bad day, you're going to feel it. So we just knew that this was something that was, it was imperative that we did this.
Good.
And also, too, this is just a simulator.
Right.
Okay. And we have to understand that this is information we're trying to pass on, but there's still some glitches to even that.
Okay.
Okay. Because in the simulator, they don't talk too much about the pull from the world. Okay. And that's real. Because when you get in there and you find out that you don't have monies for whatever you need, then there's an alternative, okay? And you ask yourself, am I going to go through all of this, or can I go where I know I can get it, but run the chance of, being locked up again?
That's one of the pieces that I think we need to make people aware of
Yes.
as well, because like you said, there was a life, that person had a life before prison, and those folk know, hey, John's getting out. and he's good at,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be pulling at that
Exactly.
person as well. So knowing that and preparing you and preparing them for that, because everybody kind of understand. I don't want to go back, but like you said, it may be easier. We watched Israel come out of the wilderness, and the journey going forward. As bad as it was in the Egypt, but at least I knew what I had to deal with. And
Right.
people wanted to go back. And you would think, no, you wouldn't want to. But that's how life is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so as we talk about this simulator, I'm amazed. I'm always interested in something that would help deal with those who are less fortunate or who made choices. What makes you feel like this is going to be a help to the group that's coming? What do you see that would help them say, okay, I didn't understand this? Or maybe you, because you've been to two, you've been to one. What made you say, wow? What was your aha moment?
For me, the aha moment was, even though I was playing a game,
Okay.
it was attached to real life, okay? And I had to balance, okay? I had to balance that, and that's what they have to do. They have to balance, what they're getting ready to go through. Because remember, in the beginning, we talked about they ended up there because of some type of trauma, and then while they're in there, they're gonna surely have some trauma. So they're coming out, okay? And some of the minds are not walking straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so having to deal with that, knowing that I want to carry my life on and be free, but my head is saying, no, that's not going to work. I've got to, do something different. We just want the people to understand that it's not easy. It is not an easy task, and it's not something that you start the day of them coming out.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
It's something that you have to talk about with them prior to, because my understanding is that what we go through, that's not how it works.
Okay.
Because when your time is up, they tell you, you're released on tomorrow, and boom, you're out there, okay? And you don't necessarily get all those things, but we found out that you should have a lot of those things that you're going to find in the simulator. And for us to just let the family members know, learn about this. As you said, educate yourself so that you'll know that you can help your loved one do better.
Sure.
Because the gain is to have them out, yes. But we want them to, you know how the astronauts, when they come out of space, they go through the decompression chamber?
Yeah.
That is what we want to help them to understand. They have to go through that process in order for them to continue to function in life.
Well, let's take that decompression chamber, for instance, and pull that as a part of how do we get them? They're in there. They know in the next 6 months they're going to get out. What should they be doing the next 6 months to get ready to get out?
Well, the most important thing that should be done, that's not really being done that we're aware of, is the habilitation, the mental part of it. Because when we speak about reentry, there's so many parts to reentry, but the habilitation of it is the critical part. It's the component that is missed. Because as Ms. Beverly said, even the thinking, they've been what's called institutionalized thinking and been controlled. So everything that they've had to experience in life, they've been told what time to go to bed, what time to get up. They've been told what to do. Versus now, when you are coming home, you don't have that. But they still have that way of thinking that, oh, okay, I'm going to bed at this time, or they're going to set up their room may set up just like they had their cell was. So being able to help them understand mentally, get prepared for this.
Okay.
And and it's not even just, a job, a place to live. There's so much as far as the mental state for them that we need to be working on the habilitation part. That is the key component that we have to really get in there for them.
Right. And understanding that Johnny's not going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have to learn that maybe his quietness you know, you don't want to talk to him anymore. You know, what's the matter? You're out, you're free. You want to go down that road. But his quietness could mean he's thinking. Okay, and that he may be angry about something, and you keep pushing that button, okay, and boom, you know, you get a big blow up. So not only do they have to be habilitated,
Right.
again, the family member needs to.
Right.
They need to understand that, you know, there's different ways. You mentioned how they may set their room up just like that, you know, and you may be thinking, well, why are you doing that? You know, it's the learned behavior over the years. And for us to understand that and not get bent out of shape because they don't want to talk to us today, or,
Right.
you know, because they've gone through a really hard time, and the home is almost like the decompression chamber.
Right.
You know.
And to add to that, you know, I mentioned earlier about Miss Sheila Bruno. On her website, there's so much information, but one of the things that she shared are other stories of families that have had incarcerated individuals, and herself, her own story. But one thing that stuck out was that there was one person, a mother was like, he doesn't turn the light off. He just, every room he goes in and he doesn't turn the light off. That was irritable for her.
Okay.
But she had to, Miss Sheila told her, you know, he was incarcerated for 5-6 years. He didn't have to turn the lights off. He couldn't. So just remembering things like that, that, you know, a lot of things that they weren't able to do inside, you know, it's not reentry, as she said. Reentry is just release is not release is not return.
Okay.
So you're released from the prison, which is you're just moving to a different location, but the return, your mental state, is not, that doesn't equate to that. It does, you know, just being reentering back in is not just, oh, my mind is back as well. So there's a lot of decompressing that has to happen, and you know, they need therapy, they need counselors, and that's one of our asks, is that right now the men inside need counselors, and the prison doesn't provide that. So our ask is if there's some counselors or certified clinicians that are able to do that, to help us to help them. Because again, the spirit of oneness, we're all in this together, and it affects us. When they come home, they're gonna come to our back to our communities, which will, and again, affect those that live there. So we've got to do better.
I have two friends, with their friends, and we also partners in church as well, who come on every third week. And I'm hearing now that we need to probably have them to come on with us, because what you're saying is the physical. They deal with the mental and emotional part of anybody's life, because you can't separate that from it. I mean, look fine on the outside.
Right.
But the other part is I'm not functioning well, because as you just mentioned, turning the light off, I never even thought about they can't turn the light off. It never crossed my mind
Right.
that you are in a situation where so much is controlled,
Yes.
but now life is out there. And I'll share this with you as you're talking about it. We had a situation where a homeless man actually got a house. They worked it out where he got a house. When he got in the house, he was only safe by putting his tent up in the living room. He slept under the tent in the living room because that was safe to him. And I could see that being something. How do we now take this mentality of a young man or a person coming out of incarceration, living in a tent mentality, to understand you got a whole house now?
Right.
How do we bring them to that place to say, okay, how do I know
Right.
there's a living room, there's another part of my house in my
Absolutely.
mind? So your program is going to help us understand that, as well as grow them to that next phase in their lives.
That's what we want.
Okay,
Yes, we
okay.
definitely want that. So right now with the reentry simulator is to kind of give you the physical part of it. But again, we push for change on every aspect and every level. So that's the educational part, the mental part, the physical part, the being the resources, because Ms. Beverly and I are both peer support specialists. So we have just embrace this part, but especially the mental part is really the habilitation, because we want to say rehabilitation, but we've looked at that, and when you use the prefix of re, it means you're taking them back to something. And then, as we discussed earlier, 67%, we say a little more, come from a place of trauma. So we don't want to rehabilitate. We don't want to take them back to that. We want to habilitate them, or as Ms. Sheila says, dehabilitate. So we really have to even look at the words we use and redefine, and just get them to a healing place, get them on their healing journey. And we're finding too, it's not just, again, that spirit of oneness, it's not just the residents that are incarcerated, but you look at the correctional officers and the staff, because they're behind the bars for however many hours. They have to be searched just like we do. It's not as intense of a lockdown as the residents, but your mind, they're at risk sometimes. They're going to a job that they could possibly not come home from. There's so many things that they need some habilitation as well. So it's a all around full circle thing.
I'm going to ask this because I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. How important is having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ in this whole process? Those in prison and the people who are going to be dealing with them when they come out.
It's everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely everything. You can't do it without it. You can't do it the right way, because we run into some that it appears they don't have a relationship with Christ, and it's ugly. They have a very ugly disposition, attitude, all of that. But you have to have it. You have to have it.
Because even inside, Christ teaches you how to behave yourself. Because, if you don't, there's consequences, okay? But when you do, it's like the world just opens up, and even though you're incarcerated, you're free. If that makes sense to you.
It does. I'm thinking about Dr. King in the Birmingham jail writing this thesis, this whole piece about freedom. There's something, you may put my body in a place, but my mind is not there.
That's right.
But these men and women we're dealing with, both body and mind, sometimes are encapsulated into a tent mentality.
Absolutely.
So let's turn back to the reentry. Unless you're trying to keep me surprised about what I'm going to run into.
We are.
We do.
You're not going to tell me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I thought maybe I could get a little hint here or there. No. Okay, all
Not
right.
much.
Okay, well.
Because I'm looking forward to seeing the expressions on your face.
Right. I mean, then you will really understand, okay, this is why they have a heart for this, to get this out, because,
Okay, I'm going to let you do this.
Okay.
I'm going to trust you. But now, again, we have about 30 slots available still. I'm telling you all now, so you would join me. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I want more of you out there. Pastors, those who are counselors, join us in this. This would be a great opportunity. So how do they register? And give me some numbers or website.
Okay. Yep. So you can definitely register on Eventbrite, and you just put in Reentry Simulator or Sister Soul Fest. We have a link. You can go on to our Instagram, also our Facebook. The link is there where you can register, but you can definitely find us as Sister Soul Fest, Instagram, Brothers United for Hope, Instagram, Facebook, and Eventbrite. And if you want to email us, you can. Our email address is sistasoulfest2020@gmail.com. And sisters with a little sass, it's SISTA. and we will be more than happy to send you whatever you're needing. We can send the link too. So just hit us there as well.
So it is July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. It's at what's the name of that center?
The T.J. Robinson.
T.J. Robinson.
Yes.
That's it. 4221 Black Bridge Road in Hope Mills, North Carolina. So it sounds like it's going to be a good day. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. Listen, we got a couple of minutes. What would you like to close out as we talk to our audience about this field, where we are So share with us your thoughts and feelings.
Again, I want to go back to what Ms. Loretta said. Get educated. You know, once the fear subsides, get educated. Back in the day, they used to say if you put it in the book, they won't get it because we wouldn't read. I need you to read.
Yeah.
I need you to read. You may not understand everything that you're reading, but there is someone out there that will help interpret it for you so you can get a better understanding. Okay? Because remember, God tells us that we perish for the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's right.
Loretta, what do you got?
First, I want to thank you, Bishop, for
Yes.
letting us come on. This has always been a great time. And then also, our ask again is that we need those to come on board and help us with the mental part of this. So if there's anyone that is a therapist, a counselor, if you know of ways that we can actually work with the prison system to get counselors to help the individuals that are needing the help and want the help, because they're asking, and so they want it. That's what we need, is we need some people to come and help us with the mental part of this.
Ladies, thank you both so much for doing this, and we are looking forward to, again, reentry simulator, as well as getting you back here, because we got to talk about how you made me feel like I was a prisoner outside the prison system. I need to know, and you promised me I'm not going to lose my temper, right?
I did. I can't guarantee you. I did.
Listen, I got frustrated, and then I cried. I was like,
I raised my
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And your little streak come out.
If there's a little thug,
It's
gonna
gonna
come
come
out.
It's gonna seep out a little bit. It
Yeah.
just might seep out.
Okay. Again, thank you so much. We've had with us Loretta Williams and Beverly Oaks from little Sister Sassy here. We call it Sister Soul Fest, as well as Brothers United for Hope. And we certainly appreciate you being a part of our lives today. And hopefully, this has made a difference in your life. And remember, the only thing that evil needs to triumph is for good men and women like you to do nothing. We'll see you soon. Take care.